Hello.
Hey!
Is that the guy when the shoe came off?
So I get everything that I could, even if you break my arm or you carry me off. That's literally my mindset at that time. So,
And I'll see you on the next time on Dragon Ball Z. Oh, where arm wrestling matters. Boom!
This is Inside the Strap. God damn it!
Alrighty, Jojo Fano, welcome to another Inside the Strap podcast with your boy, The Cap. We also have my co-host, Ben Tahini, and the one and only, I don't think, if you don't know, now you know, our NZ President, Anton. So, this
Hello,
is our
James.
President of New Zealand Federation. I'm guessing not many people know who he was, but this is the fellow right here. So he's always hiding in the back scene of arm wrestling. So
You mean?
Doing all the psychological hard work, making it all happen, where no one sees all of it. So
Yeah, hello guys. Thank you for inviting me, and obviously, massive congratulations on this little podcast you guys are doing. It's massive for the sport. You know, all these little chains help grow the sport in New Zealand. So, obviously, fantastic that you guys are having such a successful little channel going on.
yes, thanks for that. How you been since Nationals is being finished now? How's it been? Have you all recovered?
Yeah, I think like normally after like any big event or any like sort of like event that you have a big hand in, sort of like arranging, it's more the relief, and just glad the day's over, without serious consequences. It definitely drains the body. You like it's a mentally, physically like a big job. Because obviously, like with Nationals. This year's Nationals was intense. We had over 200 competitors, or left and right classes, which was massive. So that created like additional challenges for us. And then obviously the main thing was try to get most of the work done prior on the day, because as you know, you only have a venue for so long. And we can only do registrations. I think, registrations, showed to be successful to do the majority, like a few weeks before, because it just makes that load so much easier, and then you can focus on the good stuff on the day. Anyway, great stuff to learn from the event. Physically, I'm glad it's recovered like a little bit now. My preparations for Nationals was good, but unfortunately I had that super match with Max.
Max, yeah.
And man, Max I felt really strong when Max was here, and then man, I was in agony when he left. And that just sort of like really made it hard for me to be 100% for Nationals. I think I was maybe there at maybe 85, 90%. I was like still sore from Max. Luckily, crept through the line. Yeah, I honestly, like me and Max, I think, I don't know, like there's no quick matches with between the two of us. I'm always stuck in a wall with him. Even that one, the one in Hamilton, Benny, because like me and Max, we were, I think they reset us like 3-4 times, and it was like back and forth. And then my match after him was you. And you were like pressing, you're like, let's go quickly. I'm like, no. There is no such thing as a quick match. Just hang on a sec. And then
well, you just came back from Worlds, so I was freaking out. It was my first time being under 100 category, Charles. So I got there and I'm like, he was obviously exhausted, and I do remember that match. So, he was really telling us, "Hey, watch his rising, watch his back pressure." I'm like, "Hey, you didn't have to worry about anything."
Yeah, I was a tough day, man. I just
So
remember,
that was the
oh,
day.
let's do a quick match, Anthony. I'm like, mate, just hang on a second. I'm having my minute.
Who won
Yeah.
that category in 2023? Was that Woodamoo? Or
It was Finn. It was Finn. So it was pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, it was tough because, like, so I can't remember the whole draw, but my side was like me, Max, like, and that because they reset us like 3 or 4 times, like elbow foul, and it was like after 20, 30 seconds with him, and then it was you, and then it was me and Woodamoo after that. And Woodamoo was the same thing. He pulled me over to this side. I think I used all my strength that one just to like try to get it back there. And then it was the finals, and tank was empty. Finals was like this. So yeah, it was Finn won that, and then that's the from memory, Charles. That's your match with Pataringi. That was like also a beast of a match. That's that same day.
The one hit wonder.
Yeah, but that tournament was good. But yeah, I think that was really that was a tough day. That one, some good matches, but
But the level
Yeah.
from then to now is shot off the roof. So it's actually quite harder now than it was back then.
Oh yeah, but it just shows you what consistency does for the community. Obviously, with you guys in place, the club keeps growing. Both plenty, growing. I think actually, like the other day, we started like counting numbers. If we actually have our real full crew here, like we're over 20 people, but obviously, not everybody's always turning up for training. But you guys have a big club. And the sort of like the fundamentals have been sort of like put in place where you have always that fallback where somebody is available or able to push them to like a different direction, and also like ownership. I think because the clubs are taking ownership now, that's why you see the spike. It's no longer we have to wait for somebody to do something. When the clubs are taking ownership, creating their own events, doing these things, which is happening so much more frequently now. You can see all this. You can see the talent. It's coming in. It's crazy how much talent is actually in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, like you were saying, other clubs taking initiative to doing other events like Alpha X. Yep.
X.
Yep.
Yeah, Apex.
Yep. Apex, that's the new one. So I can't wait to see.
I don't think it's Apex, but you guys keep saying Apex is Alpha X.
That's why I slowly said Alpha X.
I'm trolling him.
Let's call these guys a new name.
The bit of humour there, Anton. I'm always giving Charles grief. So
Yeah.
You start confusing me now. I'm like, it's Alpha. It's not Apex, it's Alpha X.
Yeah, so we've got them happening on the 22nd of August. So it's interesting, like you said. There's more clubs now doing events. So
Yeah, and there's really some good stuff coming out as well. Obviously, like there's like some cornerstones. Being in business, like for me, James was always James is sort of like my right hand man. When there's like events in Auckland, like he's always available for me available to go scout some places out. Meet with owners, etc., just to make like that life a little bit easier. But with and then like so, I've been on a phone call today with the Korean Flash of Zamir and William Wu. So these two guys have been doing some amazing work. So some exciting stuff coming our way. So I might share like a little bit. So we've been talking like ages about like a proper. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So yeah, so we've been always, wanting, like our own ranking system, like and like a thing we can see like your data, people you've versed and so forth. And these guys have been chipping away slowly, but surely over the last, I think like maybe 5 months, if not more than that, and it's getting ready to be released. You know, I think like maybe like 3,500 to 4,000 entries has been placed. And they went through like, because obviously we've lost a lot of data. You know, we've only had data for sort of like for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, prior to that, a lot of that information was lost. So these guys were sifting through video, video after videos, trying to identify, you know, arm wrestlers, you know, and you know, and capturing the data. But it's such a really great. It's honestly, it's so good. You can see obviously like you can log into your name. It tells you your win loss ratios. It will show, you know, like your sort of like your overall like sort of like ranking, you know, points that you've gained and lost. It will show you, for example, like me versus you, like, you know, it will show like it will show you like, okay, my likely chance of beating Ben is 10% or 5%. You know, it's such a great little tool. You know, like it showcases all these little things. So, and this will definitely help future-proof, you know, the sport really. And then the other thing is this, like there's going to be like a bracket system as well that's being developed. And one of the things we've always sometimes realized is like, you know, we can't always rely on the internet. And so this system will be available, so you can download it onto your machine and you can run a full bracket with you know, from a laptop, for example, and you can pre-populate the fields. It will have all the athletes' data already in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then after that, it's just like a simple download, and that data then gets uploaded to the main server, where all the history will be captured on. Cracking little system. So we spent like a little bit of time today on it, and you know, a couple of the weeks ago as well. It's like sort of like really seeing how clever this little system is. But anyway, this is something I think is going to be really good for the sport, and obviously future-proofing, you know, our sport.
So basically what you're saying is like for all competitors in New Zealand, that there will have all that data based on that individual and how that will deviate and how it will actually collab with the person that they're going to arm wrestle, right? So how much of that data will you need? So what if would you need the data going back? Is there like a threshold, like maybe 2-3 years or 5 years? Like,
you know, so like
criteria?
we've got our data back as far as to 2015. Obviously, there's a few events that, you know, not been recorded. You know, one is unfortunately the Wellington one that was hosted. That data got lost on the computer that sort of like malfunctioned. But anyway, so and there will be like a few other things like Paul of Justice and so forth. You know, we can only go sort of like what we could find, you know, online. But going forward, you know, the more we do these things, like, you know, the data will get cleaner as well. I saw today basically, Charles, was one of your guys, George. We went over to Australia.
Yes,
super.
George, yeah.
Such a good arm wrestler, because everybody was like, because we were like, because he had like a really high score, because he had not a lot of losses against him, just a lot of wins, and we were like, you know, who's this guy? And I'm like, man, it's that fresh meat guy. I was gutted when he left, because he's like, yeah, he was good. He had talent.
Yeah, Big George, but he was originally from Black Silk. So when Black Silk had broken up, he had come and continued with us. And then sadly moved to, I think it was Melbourne or somewhere in Australia. So
yeah, because I was thinking today actually about Black Silk, and no, Shannon really, because I was because obviously, like, you know, after, you know, going through his data, I was looking at some photos and you know, and I was thinking, like, you know, what sort of like role, you know, Black Silk played back in the day, because and they actually played like a really big role, because we only had, you know, X amount of arm wrestlers when we started, but when Black Silk came in, they brought in the whole family, and I mean, everybody. It was, I think it was like 8 of them, like 8 or 10. So they almost became like in the initial stages, like straight away, like 50% of the arm wrestling crew, and with because our first event we only had like 10 people, 10 or 12 people, and then the second event we sort of like we were in the 20s. But Black Silk just had like they were like really like a big part of it. And then, slowly but surely it crept out. And then we did sort of like picked up really big momentum just before COVID. And then COVID came, and then we lost quite a few people, because obviously like moving away, etc. And then, I think the last 2-3 years you can see the rebuild happening really good, and there's like been like another explosion this year, and I think it's only gonna grow. It's becoming more viable as a sport, and I think one of the big things for our sport is it's a clean sport. There's no alcohol consumption, during the events. Nobody's getting like layering the car parking and stuff like that. It's obviously it's fearful, it's fears on the table, and but everybody's sort of like always in good spirits. So anyway, so that's one of the reasons why I think our sport have a really a great future, because it's it's a family friendly environment that we create when we have our events.
Well, we can't get you going anywhere, so you definitely have to stay in New Zealand.
I think that's the thing, and that's why when you have sort of like your events, I think this is why we need to be like really thoughtful of these things. When like this year's national, the biggest challenge was really the time. It's always the time, and even though we were running like non-stop 2 tables, it still took us like 8 hours and 50 minutes. So obviously good things to learn from that. So, the key for us going forward will be, we want to make sure that the event it's not longer than 5 to 5.5 hours, I would say. So there's things being implemented now. We'll always make sure there's a third table. But this is where it gets like really important, because it's easy to have like just to say have a third table there, but in the day you need to have the refs that's available to referee. You need to have the scorer that's available to score. It's all these little things. Otherwise, you lose that as well. So the processes are in place where we are getting more referees involved. So for last event we had 12 referees that day available, which was great. So and we utilized all 12 of them. I think we have to increase that circle. There's a few ways we will go a little bit forward, more in detail, where each club will have this simple. They will have to have at least 2 to 4 referees, at nationals. It doesn't mean they have to ref the whole day, but it's all about that rotation, and also like if you have referees in your club, then it just becomes you can only be as good as you know the rules. So those little things will just make life a lot easier for everybody else. But anyway, so that's where I think we will really see ourselves grow, is when we can keep a time for event underneath 5 hours, because then you keep the family happy, and if the family is happy, you can come next time and arm wrestle again with the family.
So what's your suggestions then to have more, obviously to go, because we did have this discussion probably we've actually spoken about it in a few episodes on how to have the day go more proficiently, in terms of just only having 2 tables, because it was a debate between having 3 to 4 tables. It's like you said, it goes on for 8 hours or 6 hours, and it's that could be a smooth day for us, but it could be quicker, like you said. But then it comes down to having referees, etc., as well. So exactly. We'll have those challenges, but the other thing is, like, I don't really think a 2-day event is quite right. We're not there yet, but the problem with that is then the 2-day event will be going quick, but then you lose that whole atmosphere. And I think we still have that. We're definitely small enough to have it. So
I think we just have to really that initial period where registrations have to be done. Say example, like our event will be the beginning of September. Then we'll make registrations open for August for the first and second week. Capture your registration period there. All those guys go to the bracket. So you just know there's no more like mugging about on the day you're starting with, late payments or late entries. Everything is ready, and that will also like really like streamline. It just starts there. It starts streamlining that initial period because that's where the bottleneck is. And then, so if you can start, for example, like 9 o'clock. When you say you're going to start 9 o'clock, you can run your youth classes first, and then you can decide like which classes you sort of like have to run, and that will be depending on the referees available. Because obviously, if you have heaps of guys in a 90 kg class, for example, then it will be like a little bit difficult to run that that sector. So you have to try and balance it, and that's why it's going to be important to have referees in multiple weight classes. So that rotation can become easier, and also then set your weight classes that's competing against those referees that can then take a break from the refereeing and then go and compete, because like it's not fun either for to referee and then okay, you have to go and compete now. So we have to find that thin line, and that's why it's going to be like really important to have the more referees we can have, the easier it's going to be like to rotate those things. And then you can run 3 tables. 3 tables will be enough, mate. If you can run it like really well, and and like with the new scoring system we're going to get, it just makes it so much easier,
It's just it's a good question. So just in terms of refereeing, how we do the referees grip, is that the equivalent of what Australia does, well, to the set grip, or is that a whole completely different system that they're using there?
What, the referees grip?
Yeah, how we've got the referees grip in New Zealand, and then in Australia they use the set grip.
Oh no, I don't know. That's like referee's grip is like normally like when you set up a referee's grip, you've got your down ref holding their fingertips, and it's like close thumb, but it's ready to go normally. It should be ready to go always. Is that what you're asking?
Well, Charles, which one it is? Like, in Australia, how they're like close your hands, and it's not an independent.
Oh no, that's wasn't it the old it was the old WAL.
WAL, yeah, it was the old way.
Yeah, so that was based on WAL. So WAL was the first sort of like organization that tried to make arm wrestling like really friendly for television. So Devin Larratt was one of the creators of it, and there was Travis Bagent and so forth. But so the idea was they didn't want, because like if you look at the arm wrestling match, for us, it's theatre, because obviously like the setup is key, but the setup can take ages as well. So for them to make it more TV friendly, because you can't waste time on that, you want to go straight into action. That's when they just went like close your hands and bang, you're off to the races. But now obviously with Australia, they follow WAF rules as well. So if you look at them, yeah. But yeah, that's WAL back in the day. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to keep the TV audience enticed. Otherwise, they switch you off, mate. It's all about the ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, good. Yeah, it's. I think it's good, like to experiment with these things, but I think obviously, like after COVID or during COVID, I think there was like a big boom as well, because you think of like what England sort of like started doing, because that's been East versus West was being born, because like the Zloty tour was always the main highlight, of the arm wrestling calendar.
Yeah. They had that Vendetta top 8 too.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was all Masarenko. So Masarenko with the top 8 and the Zloty tour, and then there was like a little bit of headbutting going on there. but obviously it was great getting East versus West out, because for me, man, like, you know, being like, you have to wait a whole year to see, like, you know, the top guns competing against another, and you just hope nobody gets injured before that, you know. And we just spoil for choice now. It's like so good seeing all these high profile matches. Yeah, it's like, for me, it's fantastic, you know. So it's great to be like an arm wrestling fan.
Mm. Well, what we need to do is get back to the oceanic ones again, Anton. The Australia versus New Zealand again.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of interest in it. A lot of people have been asking when we're going to bring that back forward, but I don't know.
yeah, that would be great to have something like that set up, because I know we, you know, back in the day when Phil and them, they were running, you know, the Arnold Classics. We always used to see the Arnold Classics and the Fitness Expo as sort of like as our national tour. It was just really always cutting, you know, when New Zealand hosted like a Fitness Expo, and you send the invites over to Australia, and then you know, ain't coming. And there's only two people that ever came, and you know, like Brett Coots, take my hat off to that guy. You know, he was, you know, he came up, you know, and then we had, I can't remember his name right now. He lives in Perth. Anyway, we had a super match against him. I've just been like blank there for a second now, but yeah, so it was like really cut, you know, like, you know, it's only like those two guys that came for a Fitness Expo. But I really think there's enough in the ground right now to sort of like showcase it, because I think maybe potentially prior to that, I'm not saying that is, you know, what they were thinking, but I've potentially think that they at that stage felt that they were at a higher standard than us. Because I remember sometimes having, like, you know, a bit of a discussion, you know, online, and but you know, if you look at the results that we had over Fitness Expo and Arnold Classics, we did really well. Like, you know, there's like 1 year we won the 80 kg class, we won the 75 kg class, we won the 85 kg class, we lost the 95 because that's Ryan Bowen, and who was the other guy that was like mega, like he was a phenomenal arm wrestler, Danny Tipp.
Yeah, Danny Tipp, yes. The legendary Danny Tipp.
Yeah, so we were like, we didn't win that class. And then we won maybe like the heavyweight, and then we won the heavyweight class with Matarini, you know, and then.
Did we win the girls one too, or no?
Oh, yeah, and the girls, of course, yes. That was insane, you know. So I always like remember that, because like when I had a discussion online, when they were like, "Oh, you New Zealanders, you know, you guys are, you know, well below our ratings." I'm like, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh!
Have a look at the scoreboard. You know, we've done really well the Fitness Expos and Arnold Classics. Yeah, so I'm, you know, so always like grateful for that, you know, with that, you know, we are definitely like a smaller team, you know, but our standard is there. So I think just like obviously like with the new youngsters coming out and the things that the old school boys have learned, you know, I'm so grateful that we're sharing that knowledge, because you can only improve yourself by sharing that knowledge, because if you share your knowledge and those younger guys start pushing you, you know, you climb your level as well. And man, we've got some youngsters. Like, I am so impressed with them.
Hey, we got a comment there, Anton.
Sorry,
we got a comment there by Tez, the Cap's wife. She was asking, what was the best year of the Arnold's Classics, in your opinion?
No, she said that was the best year of Arnold's.
Oh, sorry, that was the best. Okay. We can probe the question anyway. We'll probe the question. What was the best year?
Yeah, it would have been that year, because, like, you know, Animal won the right arm that day for the 85. I believe I won the left. Jackie won the right. The girls won. Narita and Tracy. They were like first and second.
Oh, Narita, true.
Mm.
I think Johnny Leach came second. It was so close of him winning. That was like mega. Mate, believe won. Yeah, so it's just like I think there's always like such many good results that we had. Like I remember when Jackie Lawrence started making his when he started bursting out of the seams, when he just went like not AWOL, but he went like sort of like Hulk mode, because he was always sort of like an average puller, and then he went away.
I think that was 2017. The one at what's that Auckland place? Flying Mowers.
Oh, yeah,
That's the first time
yeah.
I seen Jack pull, and he beat Peter.
And that was insane because Peter never have lost a nationals. Because I remember because Peter was going on about like he's never lost a national championships before. And Peter was by far like the favorite, and Jack turned up that day. But I've been hearing that Jack's been like, because like I've been hearing the grapevines that Jack is getting mega strong. But just before I get to that story, like because like Jack used to weigh like over like I think it was like 110, 115 kgs. He was a big human.
Yeah,
Jack,
I did see that in one of the old Auckland videos that were put up like back in the day.
Yeah, so
bigger, he had long hair too.
Yeah, so Jack used to train with us at the North Shore, and the same with Josh Burnett, because Josh Burnett used to train out of Rotorua with Matarangi, and then obviously we like Jack was our boy versus Josh Burnett, and then obviously like that was like a big super match we had. It was sort of like between Auckland and Rotorua back then. It was sort of like a bit of bragging rights. I think Jackie won that day. I'll say that. I can't remember, but anyway. But then Jack just been missing. Like we didn't know where Jack was for ages, and then he came back, and then he was not 115 Jack. He was like 80 kg Jack or 75 kg Jack. I think he was in hospital. Like I think he was in a car crash or something. He was like in ICU for a really long time, so dang it. And then anyway, like this new Jack came out, and you're like, holy heck, this guy is insanely good. And then he came out day and he beat Peter, and we all thought like it's maybe an off day for Peter, so we arranged in a super match for Jack and Peter like a few months later at the Fitness Expo, and then Jack came and he clean sweep 3-0, and you're like, how the heck? And that's when you just realize like Jackie is just now, like, and that was Jack Lawrence, mate. That's how he keeps the door open.
Anton, is it the Peter who came to nationals?
Yes.
So Peter then competed for like a little bit more, and then I can't remember when Peter sort of like just stepped aside, but that's quite a long time ago now. Like,
okay,
maybe 2018, I think 2018 or 19, he just sort of like disappeared from the scene. I think he was going through his own little things in life, and then obviously he got married and got a kid, and but yeah, he's going to try and make a comeback. Great arm wrestler, so much knowledge as well. I just don't know if he was training, but it's always good seeing these old guns back in a way. But a lot of knowledge. Me and James and a few others used to go to Peter back in the day just to get some inside scoop. To do like a special hook, or to do like a certain move, just to like really get more experience. Because when we sort of like started this. It's sort of like what we learn from one another, and watching a little YouTube video, and then how do you do that? Where when Peter came over, this is a guy that was from SA, multiple national championships there. He also went to the World Championships in Italy. I think it was Italy, he said. But he knew he knew the trade really well, and
wow.
And he just sort of like helped us sort of like set certain things sort of like in motion, or understand certain movements a little bit clearer. And then, then obviously, then you just go with it, really.
got a comment from Caleb O'Brien. Good to see ya, Anton.
Yeah, Caleb is that's the other guru, like I mentioned to you guys earlier. Wasn't sure, wasn't giving a call earlier, but yeah, like, hi Caleb. Yeah, this is all it started with that little MySpace page back in the day, you know. Yeah, it was so strange because I sort of like just before I left England, I just sort of like, you know, I met a few arm wrestlers there, I was competing a little bit there, and we found it like really hard back then to like sort of like, you know, find arm wrestlers, you know, to train with.
Yeah.
So then that's how the MySpace page came available. Facebook just sort of like came out then, and then we moved here, but then Caleb somehow found my MySpace page and sent me a message on that, and then he flew down to Wellington. I was living in Wellington, picked him up from the airport. Then basically at the airport, I bloody threw my ticket away. Anyway, it's a long story, but anyway, like in Wellington Airport, you get, you know, one of those little stupid little tickets you get, you know, when you park your car, you get like a little ticket.
Yeah, I know. So, oh, you lost it.
Oh my God, I couldn't get out the bloody airport. So, you know, that was fun in game. So that's my introduction to meeting Caleb. Can't find my ticket. You know, running around like a mad clown. Anyway, and then there was like another guy from South Africa that moved over in Wellington, Andre. Also like a really phenomenal arm wrestler. You know, I think he was a national champion there, but also like really good skill set. And then Caleb came down, and Andre was sort of like demonstrating to Caleb sort of like moving patterns and so forth. And then Caleb formed the whole thing. And then Caleb and I just stayed in touch the whole time. And then like a year later, I moved to Auckland, you know, reconnected with Caleb. And then we started training at Caleb's house, Sons of Samson. And then Caleb's cousin Jacob, he started making tables for us. Like, you know, 1 and 2, like, you know, so we can train with. And then there was another 2 fellas, Nathan, I can't remember the other guy's name, but anyway, it was sort of like a four-man crew that we had. And we just started like sort of like training. And then obviously during the training session, I was like, man, you know, obviously training is brilliant. Love training, but you know, what are we training for? You know, so it's like, obviously we need to train for, obviously to do something with it. And back then I was studying, but I was working on the weekends at a bar. And the bar back then, they said we can host our event, you know, at the bar, which was great. And that's when we had our first event. So, and there was 12 people at that event. Maturini was one of them. So Maturini, Mons, and then I think it was like another 2 guys from Rotorua came through, and then with our boys, and then Zurab, Zurab turned up there, full bloody suit. He was somewhere, but he looked splash, man. You know, like he was like, I'm going out, you know, collared shirt, buttons, tight jeans, you know, fancy shoes. And man, he wrestled. He bloody won that sort of like, because we had only 2 classes there, like 95, and I tried to make it like really fair as possible. So I moved all the guys out sort of like you know, to the plus 95 kgs, and all the sort of like guys we didn't know who they were, making sort of like amateurs, and left them in the 95 kg class. Once wasn't too happy.
What year was that?
Maybe 2012, maybe, yeah, I think maybe 2012, something like that.
Right.
And then, yeah, so, and then, yeah, that's how we sort of like, that was sort of like our first event. I actually met the guy at Fitness Expo. I was just walking there from USN, the supplement company, and he was a sponsor of that event. He gave like, you know, tubs of stuff, you know, away. Yeah, that's sort of like how it all started, you know, and then somehow then Shannon and his family got involved with it, and then, like I said, you know, then it branched out like a little bit more. Then Zurab, you know, he was like a big cornerstone as well, because he, you know, trained. Then we met then Levi Holly came came on board as well. And then when Levi Holly came in, that's obviously we didn't create like inside arm wrestling thing. So I bought the domain name, and then we had like this little idea what we wanted to do. Not really knowing how to do it, just we wanted to try and do something. And then we just obviously then going to Big Boys Toys and Fitness Expos. Just sort of like seeing if we can get in there to try to promote a sport. The first Big Boys Toys was tough. Like we got in there, and we were going to be at the TUI bar, and then the week of the event, the TUI, the main sponsor, got a new marketing manager, and they said, "Nah, you guys ain't arm wrestling at our venue. That is a big no, because you guys are going to bring gangsters here. You guys are going to bring fight into this area. We don't want to have a bar of soap with you guys." So we sort of like really felt deflated. And then I spoke to the owners of the Big Boys Toys, and they said, "No, we can still host you guys, but you'll be right at the back." There where nobody walks. If you walk that area, it's like a cowboy scene. We can see like the big grass, roll basically down, But we were in that area, and we actually had such a big audience. We put like such a big audience in that area. They were like absolutely like amazed, like the pulling power arm wrestling had. Like I remember, like James was like like arm wrestling, like a whole group of like people. It was like insane. We almost like did what we wanted to do in that area, and it just became like everybody was just like pulling to that section. The guy next to us, he was selling like these belts for like when you do like dips and squatting and so forth. He sold out. He was, "I love you guys." He couldn't believe, because there was just so many people. And then after that, Big Boys Toys, for the next 4 years, we were at the main sponsor, we were in their booth due to that event. It was insane. Like we just like really showed our powers, because we were 1 year was our Rocky, the Mother Energy booth. I don't know, but anyway. So, and then obviously Big Boys Toys sort of like faded away, but like that event, it just really showcased to them like how to build an audience, and arm wrestling can do that. Yeah.
Actually, in saying that, you know how you say that arm wrestling draws in a lot of people towards the sport. Like I said, we've actually noticed that when we go out in the community, there'll be all these other stalls around, but our store was always the
it's insane. We went to the LMP show. It's something similar like that happened. LMP show, and it was the New Zealand Strongman was happening there. Like honestly, like we at one stage, like our team there was so many people standing out there. Like the Strongman came to our booth to see sort of like what's going on here, because we sort of like infringing in their territory, because obviously these guys were like flipping ties and so forth. There's a photo of Zurab on a table with like maybe 10 kids trying to pull Zurab's arm down, and then later in the day you see like Matarini and Mons walking there flipping these massive tire tractors tires with these with the strongmen. It's surreal moments. And then from that we actually, believe it or not, we got into the Sky magazine. Somebody was there, and then they saw us, and then they did like a whole feature of us in the Sky magazine. Yeah,
It's interesting because a lot of things like that happen pre-COVID, right? And
yeah,
that's something that needs to be introduced again. Being back at those events and just being a part of that community. It's such a great idea, because obviously you can see how exciting it was and how much attraction that it brought. Not just from the arm wrestling community, but from non-arm wrestlers as well, coming from different types of sports.
Yeah, this was so sad this year of Meatstock, because like obviously Meatstock, we had some really good plans for Meatstock, and it was gutted when they, sort of like heard it through the grapevine that that they've pulled out of New Zealand, because because meat stock for me is sort of like almost what Big Boys Toys was, before it became just all about cars, because I think they lost that edge. But meat stock was like, it was still like the cycling. They had like the cars, you had the concert going on there. You had like the strongman. There was like heaps of, heaps of new stuff going on. It was like a big buzzing, and then obviously, the food, which is like, a privilege having, like Keymaster barbecue is there. But I really like the idea of like setting the New Zealand versus Australia thing up. That will be like, I can see that really going. And then obviously there's so many things that you can sort of like do. And we have so many arm wrestlers now in the South Island as well. And they did phenomenally great at the at nationals. I was like, man, like, they owned so many classes, 75, 90, 80. They were in the mix for the 110 class as well, and the opens. There's some big boys there. So you can almost start, looking potentially setting up a North Island versus a South Island. We can have, say, example like regionals, etc. And then top 8 from the North Island will travel down to the South Island 1 year, and then the same, for those guys. But the cool thing is you can then have those regional challenges. Because just to get, again, like, get those guys out, and then you can do something like alongside of it where you can have a potential like an amateur, event. So you can get like, more newcomers coming in, and then you just have like sort of like a group of, who you think will be, representing the country, like, and then so that make that sector a little bit smaller. So it's not such a long day. There's so many opportunities out there, but obviously the key is, don't run before you can walk. So I think the fundamentals with this new app coming out now, I think once those things are available, so many arm wrestlers' eyes are going to go like, wow, I didn't realize how much data you guys have on us. And and how cool it is. So I can track all my win, my losses. I can see, it's a really good insight as well into sort of like your history, and all these things. When they start working together, that's when we, things are just, you will excel in the sport. So it will be important to have that ready, and then obviously, like I said, that's when we're going to go and try and get these events up and running.
Nice. Yeah, that regional one actually sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, good. How cool will it be? Because like, how big is Auckland? Like, you guys have heaps of arm wrestlers. You can do your regional thing like potentially like over like 4 weekends. So by the time you say, yeah,
like having the Hurricanes, Crusaders, and the Auckland Blues.
Yeah, exactly. So you can because you can trim all those things down, because it doesn't need to be like massive. Because infinite travel is like a big pain for everybody, So initially, potentially, you can say like, let's make it a little bit easier for everybody. Where Wellington, and this is where that ranking thing come into place as well. Like, you guys have, say, example. You can say like, okay, you have to be in the top 20 or top 30, to be like, to be considered, representing your region. And then you have your regional competition with those guys, and wherever your club think they can be those guys, and then you get your sort of like your top 2 or your top 3, and then that's how you make your regional team up for the North, and then the same for the South, and then it's showtime. Which will be great, but there is just so many opportunities here. It's great to have them, yeah.
Because what's South Island got? They got Dunedin, Christchurch, and
Invercargill.
Yeah.
Otago.
Yeah. Because like Christchurch is quite big, and then the Invercargill group, I think they about 10 people. They were saying. Dunedin's also like I don't know how many Dunedin have, but I think they've got like maybe like 8, if I think correctly here. But they're growing as well, like, yeah. But obviously, Christchurch is where the the majority of them
Yeah.
are competing at lifts.
Speaking of events, when is the Bay of Plenty tournament happening? I know the date. I don't have the specific date, but I know it's around September.
It will be in the beginning of September. Just have a look on NZ Arm Wrestling. It will be on the homepage, and then it will. So nzarmwrestling.co.nz. That's the website. So it will be on the homepage, and it will also be underneath events. I believe it's the 4th of September. It will be on a Saturday. We've got a cracking venue. Oh my goodness. John Newman found us such a cool venue. It looks like Zeal almost. Same setup, same with the lightning. Just just way more easier parking. And then obviously, so free parking, food shops close by, just around the corner, like a sushi shop, and then there's like a little another shop we can buy fast food and fresh food from, and then you have the venue, which can that's the old post office now, but they've converted that into a church. But so you got 2 massive big screens. You have the lights, and you can change it to any light. You've got, I think, 200-300 seating there, if not more than that. Just a phenomenal stadium. Sort of like a venue, not stadium, but venue. Talking about stadiums, I would just say this. So that guy from the Flying Mower, one year actually built a stadium inside of his bar when we were competing at a national event. So he got some scaffolders, and they built sort of like a stage, like a venue will have, inside a bar. So it was crazy. It was definitely something to see back in the day.
And that you can register online now, Anton, for that Bay of Power?
Yeah, that's open. Yep.
Yes, that's open now. So
nice. Okay. I'll do
get your registration nice and early, so we don't have to hassle the whole registrations later on.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Definitely.
Yeah, it makes it easier for sure.
Yeah, great venue, free parking, and it's in the middle of Tauranga, so it's nice and easy, accessible for everybody.
Nice.
All right, but there was a question from. Hold on, let's go back up. Holy moly, who was it? Was it Caleb or something? He said something about if you prefer ready go or just go.
Oh, it's such a tough one. I for some reason it's always been drawn into me for the ready go. I know, everybody goes you react quickly before that, but I to be honest, I don't really have such a big preference for, I'm so when you're sitting up and you're in that zone, the moment you hear that G coming for go, you're ranking, that's what I try to normally do is, as long as I just know it's a ready go or a go, then I'll be fine. I think it will be a little bit frustrating for me as an athlete, if the calling is different each time, because obviously, you can prepare yourself for that. So, but I'm happy with either, as long as I know that the referee will be consistent and not change it. Devin Larratt did it with me. It was first ready go, then he changed to go, and it's it's not good. I don't like that. Yeah, it needs to be consistent.
Okay, and Karen asks question. Why is nationals in May 2027?
The reasons why the nationals always used to be in the first sort of 5-6 months of the year. it was only during COVID where things got like pushed out so late, and then we sort of like got used to it and we didn't push it back. But as we are growing and the standards are growing, and there's going to be more people putting their hand up to go overseas to compete, to represent New Zealand at the World Championships. Your World Championships is always in the month of September. Hence, you want to do your nationals at least like May, not later than June, so the guys can sort of like, come down again and then, try and peak for the World Championships. And then also it stops that argy-bargy, because if you, say example, if you have it like late in the year, there's a lot of periods that, months that has to go past before you go to the World Championships. And as you know, this game, like, 4 or 5 months, a lot can change. So just trying to avoid that uncomfortable, nitty-gritty talks. So it's just fairer making it before, and then obviously your top two get preference first, and then it goes down the line.
Yeah, because what's that? October, January, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, it's taken me nearly 8 months to recover from my injury from over the top. So
yeah, it does. So how beautiful you be right now, for example. So, but in your case, it would have worked out perfectly, because you would have had your nationals in September, and then you have to wait, or for example like November, and then you have then you're coming all around for September for for your nationals. But for the guy that was ready to fire, he missed that, because so and also you never know what can happen. Like somebody can just I don't know. The period, like you just have to make sure that you're in that bracket where you have the strongest possible arm wrestlers available to represent. Yeah, it's a bit. It's always how it's been, but yeah, it's just like I mentioned during COVID.
That was brought up into this one of our podcasts. The discussion came up, and there was a comment that mentioned, "Oh, why has nationals moved earlier throughout the year?" Because, like you said, it used to be around October, November, even, and then sometimes you'd have Bay of Plenty just maybe around December. Oh no, even November you'll have your Bay of Plenty, COVID Bastard, etc., etc.
Yeah,
That all makes sense now. That makes sense.
Yeah, because so if you ever wondered why there was ever like a event called the COVID Bastard Classic, that was the only reason, because that was meant to be our nationals, and that got pushed out such a long time, and then COVID kept interfering with it, and things got pushed out. That's just got so frustrated with the whole COVID thing, called the COVID Bastard Classic.
Yeah. Well, that answers the question then. And does it really matter about the regional, like no Auckland champs, and then we're gonna have a Wellington champs? Because I think some of the guys were gonna use those platforms as preparation for nationals. But does it really matter now? Can we do it after nationals, or does it always have to be before?
Yeah, no, like if they like like events, I would really support clubs that want to have like events. Obviously that's why we try to make sure that we set our timetable quite early for nationals, because then it makes it easier for like any club or any region that wants to have an event, so they know like, okay, hang on, like they can then plan sort of like around that. Do they feel like they want to set their athletes up for like a nationals, or do they see it like they want to do like in the middle of the year or end of the year? So we just try to be transparent as we can, because like end of the day, nationals is our biggest event, because that creates the platform for so many other things. But then and by giving that information like nice and early, that just allows everybody else to get your dates in, because like trying to hire a venue these days, man, you need to almost have to put like 6 months in prior just to secure this place. It's definitely it's tough.
Yeah. Like we're already thinking of trying to figure out a date for Auckland champs, so we can secure it now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Bay of Plenty, Papamoa, like for this, the one I had like the previous year, It's 6 months, and there was only that weekend that was available. I don't know what's going on here, but like people like hiring the place out. So and because our time, because like our events is not 2-3 hours, it's normally over 5 hours, and that's becomes like a little bit difficult to to find that spots available for 5-6 hours. But yeah, anyway, that's the reason why we want to do it, and it's great for for clubs to have competitions, because that's how we grow the sport.
That's all good. So it's fine if we have Auckland champs after nationals, Anton.
Yeah, perfect. Like, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna try as well. So, because like I normally like for both things, I'm having a look what sort of like you guys are doing as well, just to make sure that. So we'll tend to try to do something like later, like after you guys. But I've seen like December normally, like it's not a good time to run an event. Like I'll say in New Zealand, potentially like November is like your maybe the last month, but yeah, December the wheels are coming off. People like they need a break.
Yeah, and then you can have your mental preparation, I guess. Before
because obviously like yeah, because December just comes with like a lot of things. People are like thinking about Christmas, that time off with spending with the family, and we never want to be in a position where you sort of like hinder that block. So we try to be like sort of like conscious of the of the importance of family. So hence we try and do things when it's available for for everybody.
Oh, good. Any updates with the New Zealand team going to Japan? Do you have any?
Yes.
So yeah, I'll think this. Yep. So we've got a couple of guys, but I'll send this week just confirmation, because we have to get our registration in for everybody going, because obviously they in August the IFA registrations open up. So the moment our stuff is, because I want to try and get our registration to Team New Zealand, all the information in. So 1st of August we can submit our stuff, and because the sooner you submit your things as well, you get like a normally like a earlier space slot for your weigh-ins and registration. So the sooner you do it, the better. Otherwise you'll be like me and John Leach, and you rock up there 8 o'clock to register as a team, and you only get help at 5 o'clock. There's a whole day just sitting there and watching team after team going in. It's brutal. Yeah. And then same because I think because Mark is looking up. There's a few other people going to WAF in India. So Mark he will be looking after those athletes. Yeah. So
some going to WAF. When is
that so that's very similar time frame as IFA. So I think they're like a week apart from one another. So obviously WAF is in India.
India, yeah.
And in IFA will be in Japan. Yeah. So we sort of like follow the Canadian federation structure right now. So we still like our legion is with WAF, because we haven't signed anything to say we don't want to be part of anybody, because that's what Canada has done. They have just said, because there's 2 governing boards right now, they just sort of like this own. I think that I don't know what the term is, but basically they just withdrawn from WAF, so they leave the responsibility on the athlete. So if that athlete wants to go to WAF, that athlete goes to WAF. If that athlete wants to compete in IFA or IFA, that athlete goes that direction. So they leave the direction up to the athlete. So and we've now sort of like incorporate like a similar model where the athlete will decide where he wants to compete, which I think is fair. It's your life. You can do exactly what you can decide if you want to go left or right. So yeah. Anyway, so this is where we sort of like are right now.
Nice. So you're not blinded to any.
I think the other question is, can anyone go to the worlds, or do you have to be placed in the nationals?
In theory, yes, anybody can go, but like, because obviously for us, it's always like a funding problem, because things are expensive, and we are like really far, from like the mainstream arm wrestling, countries. I think this is why Japan is so appealing to everybody this year, because it's nice and close. And hence, obviously, so the rule of thumb is like top two, that they get their spots. But if they can't go, it goes to the next person. That person can't go, goes under. So yeah, and obviously you can see from the names that we have, there's a lot of spaces available. So hence we've made it. In our group chats, we have said to those guys, like anybody that's potentially want to compete, obviously put your name in there. We have currently there's two traveling companions coming with us. They from Christchurch. They won't be competing, but they're just purely coming to come and support New Zealand. Which is great. Obviously, I think there's a few that will be coming as well, just to do the referee seminar as well, which is great. Again, it's all about like learning, on the go, and then we'll bring that knowledge back to New Zealand. And I think Mark and his team will do the same thing. The ones that's going to India, there will be like a seminar, etc. And then for those guys competing there, and then they will bring that knowledge back, share it, and then we're getting ready to grow again, and share that knowledge.
Perfect. Interesting. And,
it's definitely like an interesting game. Like honestly, like I think obviously it's sad, like with the two, with WAF splitting, but with the whole WAF and IFA, debacle that was going on, for me, when I started like my journey back in the day, I met a lot of these guys, but back in the UK where I was competing at, and most of those, the friends I've made over the time period, they've moved over, their countries have moved over to IFA. It was quite interesting, especially like Sweden, because like Sweden moved over. Because and then Fia Rysak, like obviously like the girls, they competed in IFA, and they realized sort of like there wasn't that many girls competing there, or the because the Eastern Bloc, is sort of like more still with like sort of like with WAF, and and most of the Western countries have moved over to IFA. So I think that's been Sweden, and I'm not sure if they actually split or not, but like I know like those girls then got in contact with WAF and say like, hey, can we come over? Because normally what will happen if you compete underneath IFA, you will get banned from WAF. You'll get a strike against, against your name.
Damn.
But the thing is, like, this is where it gets so challenging. There's always all these talks, and I think like it depends also like on your social media account. There's a couple of IFA competitors that moved over to East versus West. Initially I was told if you compete underneath IFA, you'll never compete in East versus West, because East versus West is a WAF affiliated program. It comes down to social media preference, if you're good enough.
Okay.
And I don't like being told what I can do and what I can't do. If it's like in the day, I love arm wrestling, and I like to compete with, like with I don't know, like I love to compete, and I like to hang out with like old friends, that I've made over 20 years ago. So, and that's and a majority of the nations, like America, Canada, UK, those guys have moved all over to, moved over to IFA. So, yeah. And I can speak
Wow,
the lingo.
Definitely
Makes it-
complicated.
It is. It's tough. Like this is what I've always been trying to say to the guys. If you, depending on where you see yourself, like which route you want to go. But then again, but it doesn't stop you, because if you look what happened to Rickard Borman, for example, he never competed in the World Championships. I don't even think he's competed even in the national championships. But obviously he had just had that massive strength. Obviously, I think with Ryan, sort of like showcasing his strength. It got eyes onto him, and he got invited to go and compete in an event, and he's never looked back. But it just shows you there is so many different ways, how to get noticed. So, Camille. He was because he's the IFA athlete I'm talking about. He actually won IFA, banned from WAF, but then East versus West was like, come on here, mate, because and he's he's a powerhouse. So it's definitely like a hard challenge, but the biggest thing is just as long as everybody's transparent and knows exactly what's going to happen. But that is what's going to happen. If you go to an IFA event, you are going to get banned from WAF. If you're going to go to a WAF event, you won't get banned from IFA. The IFA is all about for the love of the sport, really, and pushing it out. So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully I will. Yeah. Anyway, it's definitely interesting. But I hope this my focus really isn't too much on that. Once you get I'm old now. I'm 48. I'm not old, but 48. Things hurt for a long time longer. My match with Max, for example. It took me so long to recover from it. I wish I was. Max was back training, I think, the next week. I'm like, mate, I can't, I was just in agony, It took me a month to sort of get back. And, the thing is, you don't know how much time you've got left. You can pick up an injury doing something stupid. I set up balloons, that's how I ripped my arm, by setting balloons up. How crazy is that, And that's now, I missed 25 nationals right arm on it, 26 nationals right arm on it, for putting a pin into a wall. Stupid stuff happened. So I think if you have an opportunity to go do something with arm wrestling, just grab it with both arms, because you never know what's going to happen, because tomorrow something else is going to happen. You're going to do something silly. Right. So I just live for an opportunity, because I know there's a big push right now for arm wrestling to be part of the Brisbane Olympic Games, and potentially it can get in there, but that's 10 years away from us. 10 years away from us is a long time, so it's more like these young guns that's gonna really repercuss from it, and as long as we can share our knowledge and get the younger guys through, they are definitely going to benefit from it. But for our old dogs, mate, that's why I'm not really too concerned if I get another strike against my name. It is what it is. I'm going to go and compete. I'm going to go see a country which I've never seen in my life before, and I think that this is sort of how I see it, a World Championships. It's an opportunity to sort of see something, or to explore something, and then obviously to compete at a high level. It's still a high level event. You have Poland, Slovakia, Bulgaria. That's the other thing. Bulgaria, when in Greece, I think they just moved. When we spoke to them, 220 athletes over from WAF to IFA. So I'm not sure if it's still the same. But they were just saying their top guns Soso, Krusty and stuff. They were still with the WAF crew, but 90% of the athletes have all moved over to IFA. Azerbaijan, man, those guys were like next level in Greece. They were lightning quick. There's like, honestly, there's for the guys going over to, I think, any world championships, don't miss day one. Day one is the best. It's obviously of all the countries being, but because it's juniors and the masters competing that day, and the youth, there's so many family members supporting their family members. So many mums and dads, supporting their youth and juniors. And it's actually quite strange because like day one is back, day two is back, and then when the senior starts, it's quite nice in the venue because there's not so many, there's actually like, you can pick a seat where you want to sit on, it's not like you're so competitive to go find a seat. But day one, day two is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it will be a great experience.
Well, speaking of knowledge, Anton, and just for new arm wrestlers, is there any like good suggestions you could suggest them for like as a mentor? Obviously, we've got physical arm wrestlers and experienced arm wrestlers, but for those who are still learning, is there any like good mentors that you could probably suggest for them to research or watch on YouTube? Because you'll definitely have a ton of knowledge there, mate.
Yeah, there's quite a few good training tips.
Plus, we've got a lot of women starting too, especially coming from Auckland, and it's just there's a lot of momentum there. So,
Well, put it like this. So my arm wrestling journey actually started when I was reading a Metro magazine, and there was a it's a sort of like a local newspaper to London. And no, it was in the UK, and there was a piece about this girl called Heidi Anderson in there, which is an arm wrestler, and was talking like actually how great Heidi Anderson was.
I remember her.
Yeah, like phenomenal arm wrestler. Anyway, so that just really intrigued me, and then I realized actually, hang on, there's something here, and then then I started like searching up, and then I got in touch with the right people in the UK. Like for women, definitely look at the Swedish girls. They are like phenomenal arm wrestlers. They great advocates of the sport. I believe I'm not sure if it's still like now the case, but for quite a long period of time, there was actually more female arm wrestlers or women arm wrestlers than male arm wrestlers in Sweden. It's insane. They love the sport. Heidi Anderson, she had a program where she was donating an arm wrestling table to a school every month in Sweden,
Oh, wow.
Sarah Bachman became so popular that she was invited by the Swedish king and queen to, for Christmas dinner. And then obviously Sarah Bachman, she was then obviously discovered in the US. And then obviously that's when she was inducted into the into WWE wrestling, and then obviously that's how her sort of like pathway started in the US. But she's obviously now back competing in arm wrestling. But anyway, yes, but Sweden, it's definitely like a popular sport for women of arm wrestling. So any of those women, there's some great tips. How they do it, how they bring the family in, when they're training as well. And for us, like honestly, there's just so many. I think obviously the biggest thing really is if for an arm wrestler or a new arm wrestler, you have to go look at your genetics in a way and understand what makes you special, and then you find something or someone similar to your sort of like style maybe, and then you experiment with it. Don't be a one-trick pony. Know all the don't know all the styles.
What's wrong with a one-trick pony? I'm one of them.
Because somebody there with a little bit of knowledge will sit there. It's like, I know how to be that guy because he's done it 30 times in a row and he doesn't change.
Those interesting names that you brought, especially Heidi or Heidi Anderson.
Yeah.
As the, I remember looking at her footage. Would you say so what about Fierce, what's her name? Fierce Isaac.
Yeah, Pia Isaac, yeah.
Is she Swedish as well?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
Swedish. Yeah.
okay. So all those women fall in that
Yeah,
category.
there's about 4 or 5 of them that's like really highly ranked. Like, man, just like absolutely like phenomenal.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There was a couple of Russian girls as well. I can't remember their names now. There was like one, like, oh my goodness, she had black hair, but yes, next level. Like, she retired quite a few years ago now, but
Right.
yes, just multiple, world champion. Yeah, and obviously it's like, I think obviously like with the war in Ukraine, with Russia, etc., it definitely has put like a halt on some of those athletes because they're not coming through. We don't see them as regular as we used to, or new sort of like break out like arm wrestlers. But yeah, but Swedish, I remember like even like Ukrainian girls were like really good. But yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Great looking, gorgeous looking. You will think like an arm wrestler. If you look at like you can't look like that, and then like
You can't really
generate
say,
so much power. Like how?
When your wife watches the podcast, Anton.
So
We've got hey, we've got gorgeous women too from Auckland, so you can't exclude them.
I'm not going to say anything more. Going to give myself in trouble. But it's like honestly, you look at like how tiny some of they are, and they are just generating like incredible like power, like so fast the blocks. This is the other thing you will see at the World Championships. You will see like the juniors on the table, and and sometimes there will be like women will be on the practice table as well, and some of the youth or some of the men will be too sort of like scared or shy to go and pull against them because like obviously of the fear of losing on the practice table. It's definitely an eye opener.
Oh, there you go. That would be helpful for all the women arm wrestlers. They don't know who to check out. So the specialist for women would be the Swedish girls, obviously, with Heidi, Sarah, Fierce. So,
they've got good little programs there. Yeah, they've got some really good little video clips what they do. Yeah, I think it's just the biggest thing. It's just commitment, isn't it? I think with anything, if you there's no halfway with anything. If you want to be good at something, you have to put in the hours. And I think that's everybody's problem. That finding the time. And that makes it hard. Especially like if you've got like a young family as well, trying to balance that work and train. It's definitely it's not easy.
Yeah, especially on the woman's side, you know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah, the ones who look after the kids. So
yeah,
and also trying to commit to training. Yeah,
it is hard. Like there is just, I think there's just no easy way with those things. I think like where Heidi, because they live like in a really small sort of like village in Sweden. And from the stories I've heard, it's like like a majority of these people in this little village, they all arm wrestlers. So when they go to training, everybody goes there. Like you will see like the young kids there on the they've got like these like special mats, they're quite thick mats. So the kids will be on there doing their own little thing there, and the mums will be there like training like hardcore, man. Doing those climbing on the ropes, all those weird things. Yeah. Well, it is, mate. Like finding the time. I think that's the biggest thing, for anybody to try to excel is like how, where do I find an extra half an hour here and there? It's tough.
Yeah, true. Might have to do a daycare at the gym or something, or wherever you guys train.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
A daycare room. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Well, just before we close up, I said Charles might have a few questions as well before we close up. But is there any? Do you have any top 3 or top 5? Or actually, we'll go with top 3 arm wrestling workouts that you'll suggest, or that are your favorite that you would suggest for people for arm wrestling?
Again,
Not right and wrong, but just a particular movement.
no, I think like if you know, this is sort of like what you need to go look at. You know, like I'm a short person, so my biggest problem is my hands. You know, I've got small hands, so they need to be stronger. My fingers need to be stronger than somebody with like, you know, with like big hands. Give you an example, like, you know, Gary Parker's here. Like, you know, I'm stronger than Gary Parker, but Gary Parker can pick up 20 kgs, you know, with his hand with ease. Where I'm like really struggling because my fingers are, you know, are like really short. So I think you need to go find something that you know that you're weakness, and you just can make it stronger. Obviously, like hands are a must for arm wrestlers. Wrist is a must for arm wrestlers. You know, so those are probably like my 2 biggest things that I work on is my hands and my wrists, and then obviously I would say make sure you do like overall body training.
Right.
If you don't do that, for me, when I went like really specific arm wrestling training, I always pick up an injury. So I try to do like everything now, and then I've got like a whole whiteboard with like exercises I do, you know, and I've got my own sort of like 8 core exercises that I do like every day. But I know for a fact if you don't train, say example, your shoulders, it's going to be a tough day, mate. It's going to be nice. But the ring is with my my shoulder off like 2 times now. So train those things, and then it makes it better.
Mm. Yeah, they'd be like me and just train the right arm because now I'm lopsided.
Are you?
He is. Popeye. He's a Popeye.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah, it's definitely a challenge because, like, but you know, you can see because I don't know how long does your training sessions last? Like when you go into the gym or like, you know, training your arm wrestling thing, is it like an hour and a half, 2 hours? What's your most limit?
What's that? So we start at 7:30 to 9:30, so about 2 hours, and then
And that's both arms or just one arm?
well, I only just do one arm.
But you can see, like, so this is what I'm saying, because in theory you need almost like 4 hours if you want to train right and left. You know, this is this is the dilemma we have. Like, there's only X amount of hours. I was looking at my board today because I was trying to do my exercises before we came online tonight, and I was like, man, like, you know, trying to, you know, not cut corners, but like, I can maybe leave this exercise out tonight, I can leave this one out, but that's still like an hour and a half, you know, gone.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely. Yeah, time. I wish I could have more time. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah, the only time is I usually use the left hand if the guys go, oh, can we just do left because I can't do my right, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can get my right arm ready, because if I can get my right arm going, because my left arm is normally just doing this, no, and my right arm's okay. You know, let's arm wrestle. Yeah, unfortunately, had to jump into the blood. You know, I have to start using my left arm because if I didn't do, you know, left arm, then I would just be sitting there and scoring. But you know, I think, you know, that this thing about arm wrestling, you know, you want to compete, and you know, for me right now, like, you know, I'm so grateful that I can still compete. You know, I've spoken, like, you know, I feel for James Wells. You know, he's been trying to get into the competing side, you know, and then he made a comeback, you know, got himself injured. Just spoke to Ash tonight. You know, Ash picked up an injury and it's actually worse than it was. So he might be out. He doesn't know but if he can compete on his right arm again in the future. You know, this is like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, like, you just don't know, like, you know, so if you have an opportunity, take it, because you don't know what's going to happen next year or what's going to happen next month. So I'm jumping full feet into this Japan trip. I'm going to enjoy it, and so the next 9 weeks I'm training my socks off, and then can lay my right arm on the table that day, and then hope nothing breaks. Well, not breaks, but nothing rips open, because
No.
it's a year now, so we'll test it. We'll test it that day.
Damn.
That's-
Hopefully it's well, because eventually I want to, at least have a pool with you, whether it's not a tournament, but we still haven't pulled hands since 2023, so that's
Well,
almost 3 years.
there are signs. Like, so finally, there's signs now. But I had like it's such a weird rip I had, because I can if I have I can't lift like this up, like so there's no karate lifts I can do, because the 20 kg is my max, and then there's a shooting pain into this, like this forearm. It just doesn't want to budge, and it's like a severe sharp pain. So I have to train like really like around it, which is like so annoying, because it's my go-to move when you sort of like hit with side pressure and then pulling back. So the moment I do those two combinations, which is like key to win a match, is like pulling back and going side, that muscle is just stopping it. It just doesn't want to hear bar of it. So now I have to try to learn the bloody press, which is hard. My elbow doesn't like the press. Oh my goodness, it killed my elbow.
No one likes pressing.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see how that's going to go. But anyway, that's the focus really. Yeah.
Nice. And then before we start off, I know I've always used the same motto you had mentioned to me, Anton, when we first talked. Like it was all a blur because I was so drunk that day at the first tournament in Albany.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember it was after the tournament, and I was stumbling out of the club, and then you had told me, "Hey, bro, you're strong. If you learn the basics, you'll be 30% stronger." And I've always carried that on ever since the day you've told me to. When I talk to all the new arm wrestlers now, I said, "Hey, mate, you're strong. If you learn the basics, you'll be 30% stronger than what you are now." So I've always carried that saying on ever since you told me that day when I stumbled out
awesome.
of that.
But it is so true, because like everybody coming to a table, it's all these weird things, and then once you sort of like lock the body, I think that's the hardest bit. Like when you like new is when you get to the table, is to make sure that your core muscles is tight. It looks so weird when we're explaining the basics, but like the elbow comes over the nipple or over the chest, like so your knuckles like align with your sort of like with your nipple line, and then if you stay tight there, then that's 30% straight away. You're stronger, where you would have been just like loose like this, because it's strange how when you have all those components, when they're in sync with one another, like like the power is there, because you can then pick your feet up, you can drive from it. You can hit different angles, because the body becomes just like one solid block then. It's fascinating how small adjustments make such a big difference. But talking about it, I actually saw a photo today of that, Charles. When I was going through some like old archive photos, trying to find some old data, and then there's a photo 2016. I think that's sort of like I think that's the sort of like, I think that's when you started like, like realizing the way you were approaching like an event, and, sort of like with, and prepping for events is maybe not the right way. But anyway, so but you came further that day. I've got like an old little photo, and you look so skinny that day. Man, I was like, you were like, I think you're competing underneath the 100 kg class, but you were skinny, like like obviously like you just look like really skinny compared to now.
Yeah,
and obviously like a different beast, like absolutely just owning it.
No, yeah, it's taken a while. That's a long time. I think I'll never get that under that weight ever again now.
Yeah, but
I
at
want
least,
to. I want to though, but it ain't gonna happen.
yeah, but at least you look healthy. Like when you like you there's a few like arm wrestlers like when they gain weight, they fill out. I don't fill out. My gut fills out. Like I just it just doesn't look right. Yeah, there's a few of us that just no, you just realize you can't get big. You just have to be sort of like the 95, 98 kg class. That's all you're going to be. Because nothing else gets big. It's just my tummy.
That's me now.
Yeah, stop losing it as well, mate. Once you hit that 40s, she ain't going. That's a lot of running.
My 30s is the years where I'm going to try to figure out some good diets, and hopefully I can carry that over to my 40s anyway.
So Ben, so where do you see yourself like next year? Are you going to be underneath the hundreds, or are you coming down to the 90s? Where do you see yourself?
Stay up. Conquer the hundreds.
Well, if I'm being honest, it's a dilemma for me right now because I'm quite new to it, and I'm feeling the different strength levels from being 85 to 90. Obviously, being lighter, you're both, even yourself, Charles and Anton, when you were in your 90s, you felt a lot more quicker, lighter. Right as you get bigger, I'm kind of on that journey, figuring it out, and it seems like venturing upwards. It seems that way. It seems that way, So, I'm in
That
between.
90 class is like she's getting stacked because I can see Jackie easily going into the 80 kg class next year because Jackie was light this year. He was 82 at nationals. Because he was in 2 months even if she go down to the 80s, but he sort of like stayed on there to compete against Max. But I can see Jack easily going down to the 80s, and man, like he and Ben Fischer, like that's a match I want to see. Like obviously, like the young guns are coming, but that 90 kg class is getting stacked. 80s, there's a few guys coming through. I think because obviously if we talk about like arm wrestlers, like I think like probably like our biggest sort of like Achilles heel that we ever had in New Zealand was not having another Maturini. I've said it to him so many times. I think like how good can he would have been if we had another person with sort of like similar strengths that he has, because then they would have pushed him. But kudos on Maturini for like just hanging out there all the time, like because it must be so hard to find like a reason to train like really hard when there's nobody really giving you pushing you in your hometown. So and I can see right now there's a few young guns coming through. Like I can really see potential. That Harmse guy at Fresh Meat, man, I can see him going. He looks scary. And then Roman, I think Roman, in the heavyweights for the juniors, he's such a big person, like such a nice guy. I spoke to him like briefly at nationals. I was just amazed how big he is. He's another big unit, So there's definitely like a few units coming through. But the youth, if like Roman and there's a few others like I can think of right now. If they
Tyrese,
if they stay with the sport and
Tyrese.
They're looking scary. Then this is young people, mate. Like they are still so young, and you're like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
But Harmse, his hand, what's his name? So he's Fresh Meat, isn't he? The Harmse lad.
Which one is he? What nash is he?
The South African, the South African youth.
CJ.
Yeah, CJ Harmse, mate. That guy's hand is like.
Oh, is that his last name?
We thought you talking about some Arab guy.
I don't.
Yeah.
Anton, I don't know my my members' real names. I don't know their government names. I didn't know them by their nicknames. So
Oh, do you know what a nightmare that was for us to try to like figure out? Like, obviously, we see all these like name like A's, and and we're like, now we're trying to find, because we have to enter that into the database, and we're like, who's this person? Who's this person? I'm like, I don't know. It's like all like nicknames. It's not like real names, but yeah, that CJ. Oof, mate! Like he is like his hand is like next level. I haven't felt a hand like that in a long time.
Wow.
And it's only like 17 or something like that.
yes, he's only 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this because he just turned 16 this year? I think. Huh? Yeah, he turned 16 this year.
Well, there you go.
2017 next year.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
mate.
it's crazy.
Yeah, like there's anyway, the youth classes look like really good. So hopefully they keep coming. There was like that one guy from Apex, not Apex. No, I've got Apex on the mind. Alpha X. I knew Apex was going to catch me out. It was like the whole time it's not Apex, it's Alpha X.
Alpha X. Sorry, Anton.
But there was a youth from them as well, from Alpha X, and then there was like another newbie, not newbie, but he's a Russian lad. That was at Nationals. I can't recall his name right now, but man, he and the fellow from Alpha X, they were in a war in that youth class. They on the right arm, it was mega. Two new guys I haven't seen before. One from a brand new club, Alpha X, and then the Russian young man. Man, I was like, honestly, I was impressed. That was some good matches there. So anyway, the juniors are coming. So yeah, which is great to see.
Mm. And then Karen asks a question. What are your thoughts on William Wu's potential to going international?
Sorry, just say that again.
Oh, what are your thoughts on William Wu's potential to go national?
Oh,
international.
international.
Sorry,
Yeah,
international.
I think obviously like the sort of like the first thing for those guys, what they will have to realize is they will have, even though we know that they've got all this talent, and how good the potential they can be, they will just have to go put themselves out there, because it ain't going to come, all by itself. I think there's quite a few guys potentially that can, stir the boat. William was really up there. I just hope he realize, there's opportunity, and he should take it if he can.
Yeah.
And if say example, if he can't compete in a Worlds, I will definitely, because like Singapore's not too far from here, and they've got some really great pullers. Because he wants to put himself in a place where he can like start making like a little bit of a name for himself. So I'll be and we know Singapore have some really great guys. But otherwise, definitely see if you can get yourself out to like a WAF or like a IFA, get yourself in there, and just sort of like test yourself, and then hopefully something will happen from it. Because then it makes it a little bit easier to sort of like push your name forward to give yourself like a little bit of a go. One of the guys from Singapore, right? Singapore. Just been back. No, from he competed at the at Arnold Classics in Australia. He competed also basically, so he competed on an IFA event. I think he came second there. He finally got now his breakthrough East versus West match. This is his second one now. I can't remember his name right now. He used to wear like glasses, but it just shows you like, you have to just be in that mix the whole time. And I think also what helps these days, if you sort of like start creating sort of like a social media page and keep posting and tagging these guys in, just to try to create like an opportunity for you. But I would love to hear, because I know like Ben Fisher is going to Australian Nationals, because I've heard that they're going to open it up for New Zealanders.
New Zealanders, yeah. Tyrone's going as well from Wellington Wrestling Club, because he actually lives in Australia as well.
Oh, really? Okay, so I definitely would like. So if Max can go, because I was like, because like Max will definitely like, it will be good to push himself out there as well. If William can go, maybe that's a way for them to like sort of like just to really like go and test the waters. But then you will have to go kick a door open for yourself. Doors ain't going to open it for, by itself for you. You have to go put yourself out there, get yourself into uncomfortable positions where you feel like you have to go and travel and do something, and then get your name out there, and then, and craft that opportunity for yourself. But William definitely has the minerals. It is just, to get that opportunity. And this is where it's sometimes so difficult. But I think this, he just have to go put himself out there to get that opportunity,
Yeah. You don't hang around, guys. Don't
Don't
sit
hang
back
around,
and
mate.
wait.
Yeah.
Just go for it. You know what I mean?
Have to break out of the New Zealand shell.
Yeah.
You want to make it, basically, yeah, you need to get out of New Zealand. Once you've had your experience and, figured out your strengths and your talents, that's the way to go, right?
Yeah, like because otherwise you wipe your eyes out, mate, and 10 years it's gone. Like if you think about these guys that that took a break, I'm pretty sure they all like, I was going to take a break for like a year or 2 years, and then you wipe your eyes out. It's like 8 years are gone or 10 years are gone, and then you're like, what if? It's just because you were at such a high pinnacle, and you never took really advantage of that when you were sort of like in your element or in your game, or I don't know, like in your mojo back in the day. You not peak, because you can always like peak again, but when that opportunity arrives, like just take advantage of it, because it's gone.
Right.
And then are you going to get another one? I don't know. It's it's the luck of the draw.
Yep. Whew. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Alright.
yeah, it was. Yeah, there's so many stories, but like anyway, so it's definitely great having these podcasts.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks for coming on. You haven't broken the record yet. We've gone over 2 hours, so you're under the threshold. Can't be
Who was
boring.
that with?
Yeah.
Was that Corey Skinner?
Right, Corey's the master, man. He can go on and on.
He can keep talking.
He's an energizer battery, that fella.
Oh, mate, nobody beats Tom Skinner. Tom Skinner's on
yeah.
another level, mate. Tom
That's
Skinner
right.
he's my SOB. He's yeah, man. Like Tom. I remember like the first time he came to a training session. We were at Biggie B's training, and because we met him at Big Bush Toys, and he was like, straight away like mega strong. And anyway, so he's like, "Am I doing this right?" And you're like, just want to show him like to do like sort of like the basics right. But he's so freaking strong. It doesn't matter if like he can be in your power move. He just like, is this right? And he just like manhandle you all over the table. Yeah, I do have like a good. I always have time for Tom Skinner. I don't know if you guys actually know, about 30 years ago or 40 years ago now, there was an event in New Zealand where they were trying to find out who the strongest arm wrestler is. It was done by DB Breweries, and basically they were traveling the whole country, and they had like these old machines where you were sort of like with the steel handles where the arm brake machines, basically where you push and your opponent will be the other side and they push against that steel like lever. Yeah, but so the story gets crazier, but like Tom Skinner won that event. So they went through the country, and then he won. He won his, like, say, example, like his regional challenges, and then he went all the way through to the final. And then Narita and Tracy's dad, they were one of the guys helping to build these machines that was traveling across the country. And then I was just like, how it all this back in the day all fit in. We had two, like, really old history, gurus in our system, which is like, Narita's family. I can't remember his name now, but like the dad, he built that stuff, and then obviously Tom Skinner, winning it. Crazy.
Interesting. Talking about Narita?
Yeah. Yeah, so Narita and Tracy. Yes, I heard that was like he helped build those machines, those like steel handles. And then, but yeah, like definitely. So when you see Tom Skinner again, like I have a little bit of a yarn with him about it, because he actually, he still have like the paper clippings from it. He brought it in one day at one of the trainings, and he showed me, man, it's just, yeah, it's really good to see, the old history in New Zealand. And then when we sort of like created that website back in the day, when the Internet Arm Wrestling website just sort of like went live, and we launched, I got a couple of phone calls and text messages back then to sort of like, of people that told me about, like, a bit of the arm wrestling history of New Zealand. Yeah, so obviously for me, that just sort of like showcased, the importance that we had, sort of like for the senior guys, to stay with the sport, when we just started, because if you don't sometimes have those cornerstones, people not leaving, they always, with the sport, it helps the sport grows. But when you have those guys leaving, then it creates like a void, and if that void doesn't get filled, it sort of like disappears on you. So I'm always like sort of like grateful we had, like, Levi, was like really sad on his passing, then Dave Herbert, filled the shoes, helped a lot. James, Mataringi, like Charles. So it just sort of like showcased like how really important it is, like, for clubs just to be consistent, there, because like that's how you sort of like grow it. You have to have that, not fallback, but you have to have that pillar, because if you don't have it, then yeah, like, there's a void. If that void doesn't get full, it goes missing, so there's nothing. So yeah, plays a big part here. Yeah.
Sweet. Have you got any more questions, Ben?
Want to say thank you for jumping on, Anton, and we appreciate it. For those who are unaware, this is our president of the New Zealand Arm Wrestling. So yeah, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. We appreciate your knowledge and wisdom you brought onto the platform tonight and sharing your experience.
Well,
Yeah.
Anton was the one who built the arm wrestling from the ground up, and it has continued. How long now, Anton? Have you been in the game now?
Since the start, my journey sort of like started in 2006. That's when I sort of like started, and then and then we moved from the UK to New Zealand, and then there was nothing, which was like sort of like frustrating in a way. When you just sort of like just found a sport, that you sort of like really like, that you enjoy. Even though there's no, like my wife said, you found a sport that you're good in, but there's no prize money in it. But we all know that, we do the sport for the love. But yeah, and it was just obviously that big challenge to try to get it going. There was obviously like some big pillars that play a big part. Joel from Canada, he played a big part, financially, because obviously when we created like a you know, the federation, you know, there was funds that we had to pay, etc. Those tables that we had to get into the country, man, you know, so we just paid $4,000 for the tables, you know, and we hustled for that $4,000, and then the tables was here, but then we had to pay like another $1,000 to get it released. And we put a SOS out on our on our Facebook page back then, and we didn't get any people like really like, you know, donating. You know, Mate, I think Mate gave me his last bloody $40. I, you know, obviously, like, you know, got a couple of dollars, but we were still like, I think we were still like something like $800 short. You know, it was, you know, it's just like we were all like sort of like starting back in the day, or $700, and then you know, I can't remember, but anyway, so Joel gave us like the remainder of the money that we needed, you know, and obviously like he helped with the setup of the federation, and then my neighbor, oh my god, like he's a lawyer, but you know, I used to stand on his doorstep at night, you know, we drinking like beer and just having like a bit of a yarn, and you know, and I was like explaining what of like, you know, what we have, and you know, how we want to, you know, get this, all this stuff like affiliated, etc. And yeah, obviously like he helped me, you know, set things in place, the constitution, etc. You know, and then obviously like, you know, I think I went to like the bank to like when we had to go open our bank account, and I had to show like all this documentation, and the lady that helped me open up our bank account for the NZAF, she actually said something, and I was like really proud of her, because she said, man, I've done like heaps of these things, and your documentation is absolutely spot on. It is well written, it's easy. I understand exactly what's going on here. And you know, she opened up our account with, you know, in a couple of minutes. She was just like really impressed that everything was done correctly. and that's obviously like a big reason, you know, we my neighbor Jeff Baker, you know, he played a massive role in that. But yeah, so it's like, you know, all these people that helped over the years, and just really excited now to see where it goes to, because it's really exciting, you know where it's going. Like the levels are climbing, the competition are fierce. You know, if you like, I think everybody would have been wrong picking certain, you know, placings at nationals, but you know, there was quite a few upsets, like really big upsets. Yeah, like honestly, it's great to watch though. We're onto a good thing. Atmosphere was good, you know, family friendly. As long as we keep our morals and our values, you know, we can definitely grow the sport.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. That was I think that's us for tonight, guys. Thank you all for logging in today, and dude, sorry, I'm not sure where that. But yeah, this is our president, Anton. Any last words for the audience, Anton, before we say goodbye?
Just obviously thank you, and sorry for talking your ears off. I definitely I have so many stories. I had to like really pull myself in tonight. It doesn't sound like it, but there's maybe like another 4 stories in each story I could have gone into. But just meet amazing people along the line, like real characters. Torps, you know, Lance, you know, that was my crew back in the day. You know, absolutely fantastic human beings. You know, and they've got some interesting stories as well. And then, you know, like the Shannon and his family. And it's just great, you know, having this sort of like, you know, family environment, you know. I think like arm wrestlers are just, I don't know, we're a different breed, mate, you know, like, you know, we can have an easy yarn all day long, and we're always, you know, willing to help one another. So anyway, great being part of the sport. And yeah, thank you very much. And I hope you guys have a great evening. And thanks for listening to my to my monologue voice. So yes.
Awesome. And then we'll catch you guys up on another episode of Inside the Strap, where arm wrestling matters. Boom.
Boom.
Hello.
Hey! Oh, Ben,
Is that the guy when the shoe came off?
Like everything that I could, even if you break my arm or you carry me off, that's literally my mindset at that time. So
and I'll see you on the next time on Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. Oh, where arm wrestling matters.